You want a quick go live because it just takes a little time to wash itself.
Again,
It just takes a little time to buffer, so.
to buffer.
Yeah.
So we're just going
So I've clicked go live.
to bring up 11 first.
No, we don't. Okay, are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Welcome everybody to ordinary meeting of Central Tablelands Water, August 2026. Special welcome to our new emotes. Nazrul who's here. Your first board meeting. Yes. So official welcome. So, enjoying the weather. Bit different from Townsville, but we've laid on the wet weather for you at least anyway. So thank you indeed, everybody. I'll start by, I'd like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are traditional custodians of the land, but also like to pay respect to their people, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians present or who may be watching online or watching. In accordance with the Central Tablelands Water Code of Meeting Practice, this meeting is live streamed. The live stream will allow members of the public to view the proceedings of the council meetings. The objective of the service is to eliminate geographic and other access barriers for community wishing to learn more about council's decision-making processes. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to be audio and visually recorded. Please ensure that when you speak at this council meeting, you are respectful to others and always use appropriate language. Whilst council will make every effort to ensure that live streaming service is available, it takes no responsibility for and cannot be held liable for technical issues beyond its control. Live streaming is a free public service and is an official record of council meetings. Minutes will be made of all council meetings and published within 2 weeks after the meeting. For a copy of the recording of minutes, please refer to council's website. And council does not accept any responsibility for any verbal comments made during council meetings which may be inaccurate, incorrect, defamatory or contrary to law, and does not warrant or represent that the material or statements made during the meeting are complete, reliable, accurate, or free from error. Okay, moving to item 4, apologies.
We have one apology, Councillor Nash.
Councillor Nash, or I have a member, Councillor Palette and Councillor Boswich.
Lynette.
Oh, and Lynette,
Yes, Executive
corporate.
Manager Corporate Services.
Yeah. All in favour? Aye. Carried. Item 5 is confirmation of minutes from previous meetings. Can I have a mover? Councillor Newstead. Councillor Boswich, thank you. No comments on that? On the minutes, previous meeting? No, I'll put that. Okay, that's carried. Item 6, matters arising from the previous meetings. Councillor Newstead, move that, and seconded by Councillor Beth. Okay. Are there any matters arising? Councillor Newstead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just in item 11.9 on page 8, which is about the connected land and water channels. It's got a wet back out on public exhibition, and as far as I can see, it's still in draft form, public charging.
That is correct. Mainly because we are operating under the old policy as currently stands. What we're going to be looking at today are amendments to that policy. But while that previous policy is in force, staff have to follow that policy and charge the charge while under the current policy.
So if the policy is endorsed today, the new one, the revised one, and somebody's paid and it's discovered that they're probably exempt, will they be refunded?
I'll pass that on to the General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the we're still operating under the old policy, so that stands. If council choose today to make an amendment to the policy, that policy then will become enacted going forward. So any charges prior to the change still exist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further comments or questions for these matters? Okay, I'll put that on vote.
Aye.
That's carried. Everything while I go backwards. Item 7, disclosures of interests. Mover, Councillor Newstead, Councillor Rockridge. Any disclosures of interest? Nothing, no, I've got nothing. Favour? Carried. Item 8 is the chairperson's minute, which you've got there. Quick draft of outcome from the JO meeting in Canberra, which was an excellent meeting. And I'll give the general manager an opportunity to talk on it as well, but we covered a wide range of topics. Councillor West was there as well, representing Devon. Good selection of ministers and staff who came along to speak with us. I mean, I guess there were a range of issues, not just water related, but certainly the age of water infrastructure was a common theme. And when you're talking to the federal government rather than state government, you tend to be talking about very, very high level issues. Very often, Councillor Neil from Parks, the Mayor of Parks, often use the term bold, bold responses from federal government, because that's what has to happen in federal government is recognition of large scale issues. And for us, for our region, one of the key issues, well, there's a number of key bold issues that are there. Water infrastructure is one of those. And the aging infrastructure we have in our region, not just CTW, but across all water utilities in the region. Obviously, transport is a big one. And he was largely talking about inland rail. But of course, we've also got to break the highway to Sydney occurring at the moment, which is impacting severely on businesses and on just general people in our region. And telecommunications. And we've just gone through a telecommunications issue, have we not, with the CTW just recently. And these are the sorts of things that impact on us and CTW quite fundamentally. And we as a region, as a regional council and county council, we can't deal with all of those issues financially on our own. We need support from state and federal government. And this meeting, the JO meetings that we have in the state and federal government, is there to basically put ourselves front and centre in front of the people and give them a reality check, basically, about the situation in our region. General Manager, would you have to speak to that at all?
I think you've articulated that well. I look at, through Mr. Chair, and maybe Councillor Best might want to add too, but obviously the idea of ageing infrastructure, we have to design infrastructure for out to sort of 100 years, makes it challenging in terms of recouping costs from capital and developers. So hence the reason we need state and federal support in that. But the affordability piece too, how do we do it and still remain affordable? It's one that we will continue to wrestle with.
Thank you.
I'm back to the Amanda. I think the same thing is there's a lot of pressure on them to deal with aging infrastructure in the regions. It's what happens, and how do we, argument is how do we get them to invest in the region instead of investing in Sydney, you know, Melbourne, that's what we want. Everyone's saying the same thing. Every single council sat there said we need to invest in the region. But I thought particularly important that CTW was a discussion on the national.
Yes.
Basically admitted there's issues with it. My take was they admitted there's issues with it, but there's no sort of answer of what's going to happen. They're sitting there with no investment, no more investment in it. They know that they've got no more money to spend. They spend all the money they've got, they're allocated. Sitting there saying, we've got all these projects coming in, we've got no money to do it. So that's to us, that's our biggest issue moving forward, is that they don't top up the national. They don't invest the money in the infrastructure. That just shows pretty short-sighted.
No, you're absolutely right. But to the great credit of the JO, they organise these meetings so that we can basically shirt front the people in power in forestry and Canberra, so that they get that reality check. They can. The National Water Grid people were very open in what they can and can't do, and then, of course, we always have the issue of that whatever money that they can provide us has to be filtered through the state government. And I made the point to them that we've got issues with that arrangement, in that we can tick a box. All of the National Water Grid boxes can be ticked by our projects. I think of one particular one, which I won't mention, but there's one particular one that we can tick all of their boxes, but of course we've got to also tick the state government boxes, or we actually have to run the gauntlet of state treasury, which is consistently saying that they don't have any money. We can't get access to National Water Grid funding, even though we tick their boxes, very much so, and they recognise this as a problem. So, you know, we'll have to, you know, it's a structural issue that has to be. So yeah, they can, National Water Grid, and then they can go back to their political masters and say, you need to support us by providing us with more money, more budget. Look, here's some examples for you. Central West JO just said, we've got all these issues, and a lot of them are structural. It's not just about the money, it's also about and, so by being there, you've got to be there. Speed, you know, it was a bit like speed dating. They always call speed dating, lots of meetings, but it was good. Okay, moving on to item 9, council representation. So if you could just pass on your representation through to the staff, I guess. So, or does anyone represent CTW in the last 2 months? Just me, man. Yeah. So I'll pass that on to
Chairman's minute.
Sorry.
Chairman's minute.
Oh, my chairman's minute. Item 10, notices of motion.
No notices of motion.
Okay. Through to item 11, reports of staff. Item 11.1. So find it. Yeah, while I find it. Just it on 14. Too far. Answer. Okay, thank you. The Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference 2026, which happens in Wollongong this year. The recommendation there is to approve myself, the Deputy Chairperson and the General Manager or representative to attend the Local Government Congress in Wollongong from 22nd to November. And appoint myself or my delegate to be the voting delegate of the conference. Mover. Councillor Newstead, Councillor Arlett, thank you. ODP.
I unfortunately can't make that, so I'll be out. It's at the deputy. Sorry.
Is we can take some minutes. Yeah, happy to do so. Is there anyone else like to attend that conference who isn't attending for their own council? who would like to attend on behalf of CTW, enjoy the sunny climes of Wollongong? No? You're going in, I assume.
Well, I want to put a report to the council on in September, not council to make a decision. Also, that's why it's sort of at the last meeting.
Councillor Bowden?
I possibly can go, just depends on when I do the surgery.
Oh, okay.
So I put my name down, Marlene, she might be going for. So if you want to put my name down tentatively, and then if I can do it, perhaps someone else could. But we then to know that we have a backup, because you're booking it early.
Yeah. Councillor Newstead, you're not interested?
No.
No. You're probably going, anyway, it's the week. I mean,
Like I said, I've
You can.
been a lot of conferences, a lot of
Yeah.
country mayors, lots of different things going on. So I just like to put it to the council. I wouldn't want to be a council decision basis. That's all.
So you could go instead of me, I don't go, because Sweden didn't go last year, and I went last year, so. Maybe back up for me then,
Yes, yeah. So I'm sure when we get closer, we can work it out.
Okay.
Like being
Is that all right? Yeah.
So we'll have Councillor Ballard as our alternate. And if she can't go, then potentially Councillor West. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Or put that, all in favour? Aye. Carry. Number 2, low cost loans initiative application. I won't read all of that out, but I might get the general manager to talk to this one briefly. Explain it in a little bit more detail, but effectively to endorse that. It's really about endorsing the preparation and submission of an application to the New South Wales Government's low cost loans initiative program for the upgrade of the trunk main A and carpool water treatment plant. The 2 probably highest priority capital items that we need to consider.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Council's aware in June we made a resolution to investigate for an application to go to a New South Wales program which is called the Low Cost Loans Initiative. The program actually provides 50% of the interest that would be paid for infrastructure to improve housing. We have checked with the criteria, and the proposed projects Trunk Main A and the works at the Carpool water treatment plant both are eligible. We've estimated the cost to be approximately $8.5 million to do both of those. And we're proposing that of the 8.5 million, we fund approximately $780,000 to do the preliminary works, including the likes of an REF, which haven't yet been done. There's just been a bit of desktop exercise on that. So if council, we're proposing that council pay out of our reserves to do that upfront works. That would then inform in more detail about the project and the likely costs. We can also go out to tender and test the market for that and come back with a firmer figure. So the intention is that the request to council is that we continue to make application for the program and the funding. We then proceed with doing the preliminary works. We've got, under the funding model, we've got 12 months to commence the works, and the preliminary works would be indication that that work has progressed. And what our intention is, once we know the detail and more detail within that time frame, we come back to council and advise council on what the actual likely costs are going to be, what the loan amount is required, and what the interest rate will be. And we'll get endorsement from council if they wish to proceed or not prior to executing the deed. So that's what the proposal is at the moment. Happy to take questions.
Questions, comments?
So would you still be trying to get grant funding as well, or just a loan?
Mr. Chairman, we always keep our eyes and ears open to opportunities for grant funding. What has been made clear to us is that the state government at this point in time have more money. So, and the feds, as the chairman indicated, are winding back on allocations of funding for water infrastructure as well through the National Water Grid. So whilst we maintain visual and keep the ear to the ground for opportunities, the anticipation is that they're going to be slim. And so the loan opportunity is probably the best that we will get at this point in time.
It's funny, isn't it? You know, like everybody talks about water being the source of life. You know, try and get money for it, it's pretty difficult, isn't
Well, these things come in cycles, so hopefully there will be another cycle. But at this stage, my reading of it is that front main aid is critical to our network, you know, and also any upgrades that we do to, in fact, carport treatment plant is critical to our network going into the future. Any work we do on either of those things is a critical part of our infrastructure. It's like a bit of it's an Achilles heel if either of those go down for any reason. To my mind, they're the absolute highest priority to work on, regardless of whatever source of money that we might be able to get from elsewhere. I mean, I had originally thought we could ease the front main aid into the Blobby Water security project, but the reality is we can't. You can't have that's a big if. And that may not be for many years. And I think we've got a situation now where we're vulnerable. So we really have to make a call pretty soon about front main aid in particular. And getting it underway with this very specific amount of money, 779,329, to do the preliminary work, which would have to happen anyway, regardless. We would have to do that. So that's where I see this. Regardless of any other money that we can get, I'll build project or.
And Mr. Chair, if I could add to, in reference to this meeting the criteria and eligibility of the funding that was about housing growth, this directly supports that, and we have discussions with some industry as well at the moment, which if we don't do trunk main A, we're already constrained, and so future development for us is constrained by trunk main A in the first instance. We've got some constraints at the treatment plant, which this project would hope to address. We still have future issues around trunk main B and C, all of which is ageing, all of which is a constraint on our ability to continue to grow. But trunk main A and the water treatment plant are the two critical things. If we can resolve those problems, we can get a little bit further down the road before we have to do too much more than what we had anticipated. So there's rationale around the reasons. The funding eligibility ticks the box. It's just a case of whether the application is successful. There's a fair bit of work to go into making the application. It's a competitive application process, so it may be that we're not successful anyway.
But what we're saying here is we're still going to spend the $779,000 to do that preliminary work, which we know we're going to have to do anyway, regardless. Regardless of whether or not this project goes ahead, we're still going to have to do this.
Councillor West.
So there are a few comments on this, and I wasn't here at the June meeting, sorry, but I suppose what I look at with this is I don't like council A being led by grant opportunities. You know what I mean? Like we need to make our decisions based upon what the best thing for the whole organisation, not what the state government puts in front of us. Which is, you know, I think you can make some pretty poor decisions if you just chase grants. That being said, I suppose to me it's about the opportunity cost of $8.5 million. Like if I had to say to you as a director, and I'm not questioning any of the engineering decisions, but if I said to you, I'm going to give $8.5 million, is that what you'd spend it on? You know, is that we're not just spending on that because we're ticking the box of housing, we're spending it on because that's what we need to spend the money on. That's the most important project we've got, and that's the most important thing. I worry that a little bit about the future in borrowings. I worry about if we don't get the, I'll be honest, if we don't get the water program up and the lake level up, Lake Rollins increase, we're going to have to do the dam safety sooner or later. That's going to be something that I have to come up with some money for. So making sure that we're not actually, you know, wrecking our borrowing capacity that we can't actually get those dam safety upgrades done in the future. And that other things, like I said, I probably, well, when it comes down to the treatment plan in that, I want to make sure that we're spending the time and the money sort of thing to actually investigate whether or not they're the best upgrades for the actual system. You know, like putting, say, for instance, sludge beds. Well, there's probably new technology now with dewatering plants and stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're not jumping in to do something. We're actually investigating, is that the best way? And I'm sure I'm sure the staff are doing absolutely that. I'm just saying, like, that's to make sure that actually, you know, $1.2 million for drying beds, but maybe we could put an automated dewater system that works all year round and not reliant on weather and all those sorts of, you know what I mean, like all those sort of issues, making sure that investigation is done, we're actually spending the money in absolutely the right thing. It's not just a reaction to getting this low into loan, because so I think every council has this issue where they're a bit led by the nose by what state governments to spend money at that time, and then we're carrying the rest of it for the rest of the time. We're carrying the loan for the next 15 years. And I think what was the value of the interest on 6.5 million. Yeah, interest on it. That's a massive amount of interest.
Like it's spread out, but yeah,
it is spread out. But I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, we're getting a $3 million saving by the government paying half of it, but it's still an awful lot of money when we're looking at our long-term financial plans and making sure that this is, you know, and making sure what this is going to impact on those long-term financial plans. So don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with the staff recommendation to do it. I'm just saying everything that runs through my head, making sure we achieve all those sort of things.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer some of those because I think they're valid questions and worth a response, and I'm happy to do that. These particular projects have been identified in our long-term financial plan, so they are identified as being priority projects in that respect. So what this project does, or the program, low-cost loan initiative program, will bring those projects forward. And in some reference, it's timely because of some of the discussions we're having with some of these industry customers who are likely to come on board and require fairly, potentially up to 10% of our annual consumption, which is a large amount. So for us to be enablers in that space, these projects tick the box for that. So this program will enable to bring it forward. In terms of the borrowings and our capacity, our executive management accountant and we've had some chats around that. You'll know in our long-term financial plan, in our scenarios that we put forward, scenario 2 had the idea that what happens if the Beloved Water Security Project doesn't go forward and we have to spend money on the dam safety. So we've got a scenario that we've put forward. It's not very good. It's very good at all. We are going to need, if that scenario happens to play out, we need to go to the state and or the feds. They need to help support and fund that. So that's, we will have no other option for that. It will extend our borrowing capacity. There's no doubt about it. If we have to go and borrow, let's say $25 million for dam safety, that's going to stretch us. And that will mean potentially no further works that we can afford to undertake with our reserves. So there is a risk in that. And we've got in our long-term financial plan that we are, which is another risk, we are contingent on funding, on grants. So in acknowledging all of that, what's the best approach? That's why you're sitting at the table. we can advise you. Is this the best approach in terms of an engineering outcome? We've obviously had work done on the design for the trunk main A, so I'm absolutely confident that that's the best approach. The review of environmental factors, etc., that might flush out a few other things that we may need to consider. It's not a huge risk as we're following an existing alignment, but there is a risk there. The water treatment plant. So this enables us to get the nameplate capacity out of the treatment plant. So the full 9 megs. At the moment, we're restricted to probably just over 6 with its current functionality. So these, and I'll call it tinkering around the edges, for want of a better term, helps us to stretch that capacity out to 9. So the sludge beds, there are alternate engineering solutions for that. They all come at a cost. So when we've considered that, there's the operation and maintenance of those press type technology. Yes. And would it be cheaper? Not in the longer term, but we could present a report on that. But
I'm not disagreeing with the engineering. I'm just saying, you're looking at
yeah,
the most efficient way of, you say it's not much, but still $2 million. So it's front of me, which is the best bang for our buck.
which most of that, sorry, Mr. Chairman, is drying beds. Yeah, absolutely. And we're under capacity at the moment.
Yeah.
So look, that's drying beds are considered the cheapest operational cost going forward. And look, our objective is to make our dollar go as far as we can get it. So hence the reason, we're proposing $8.5 million instead of potentially 12 or 11, which could be the case, but very unlikely.
We're restricted a little bit in terms of topography of that site too, aren't we? It's a very steep site, so there are some things that we may not be able to do cheaply. Also, is that correct?
Oh, topography is certainly one of the challenges we're wrestling with. Hopefully that answers your questions. I'm not sure if you've got a follow-up.
I don't know, that's what it comes down to. Is, this is still talking about $8.5 million. We know the biggest pipe size in the world, but we don't have any carrying capacity in the dam. It's not going to make a difference. Like, that's what it all comes down to. Yeah, we haven't got any more water, so we've still got the same amount of water as we had previously. Nothing's changed. So, funding that loan and all is, I'm always terribly worried when you get to the point of if we have a extended drought and we haven't got any money. That's the worst part about this business. As a business, if people actually want it, we can't sell it. We've got to restrict it. So therefore, our income's restricted. So how do you get through when we're paying that amount of interest back in every 12 months? You sort of go, it doesn't take too many years before you can put some money. You're thinking about that as well. So that's what worries me. Is that a couple of those sort of years that sort of really tied out sort of stuff, which is, I think that's a lot easier decision to make if we could work out, if we come back with a glove here, if we had to increase it then, more capacity, but everything, it's, like to me, that's the best thing. Yeah, then we can sell that water and that we can do all that. But,
That's awesome.
I also have a couple of questions. But one, with truck main A, we still say we're going to review the environmental factors, geotechnical report and project management plans. Would we look at changing the alignment and bring it somewhere else to bring those costs down? So I would say the cost of taking it below the existing one would be fairly expensive. Could we look at a new alignment and bring it in to bring the cost down and maybe go to a bigger pipe?
But we're definitely going to do a bigger part, that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, through Mr. Chairman. Look, we haven't considered a new alignment, predominantly because we won't have to purchase any land if we maintain this alignment. There are areas that we do follow the topography for very good reasons. There's at least 3 spots along that alignment that may, like if we change that alignment, we won't have gravity fed. So we've got to be a little bit careful about that. I take on your point. If there was an alternative that doesn't impact on our ability to gravity feed, we would consider that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of topography between the dam and the treatment plant. There wouldn't be many options, I wouldn't have thought.
I'm back through Fell Timber Road or somewhere like that, what I was thinking.
Or around a long way.
Yeah, well, you'd have to go through a gully that's 150 metres deep, might be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the
First, I mean, it's a good question. Was there something?
No, that's true, that's right. Well, a bit, you know, we're going to, bit like Councillor Best said, you know, you can have the biggest pipe over the dam, but I'd rather see a big pipe gully for future development than what we can afford, if we can afford it. That's why I think a different alignment, it brings the cost down, get a bigger pipe, still going the same way.
Just to clarify, we're not voting on spending $8.5 million. No. That'll come later if we can, you know, get an application in for the discount on interest. So all we're doing here today is just endorsing the preparation and submission of that application, and also resolving funds those preliminary works which we believe are necessary. So everyone's happy with that. If there's no more discussion, I'll put that. All in favour? We already have.
Sorry, we need a mover and seconder.
Sorry.
I'm
Councillor Parlow is moving. Councillor Gottfried is second. Sorry, I thought I'd done that. My apologies. All in favour? Aye. That's carried. Thanks, everyone. That's really good stuff. Item 11.3, investment reports for June and July. As you know, they're 2 separate reports with 2 separate months. Now, the recommendation of council note the investment report for those 2 months. I'll hand over to the executive management account if she wishes to speak to that.
I'll take the report as read, Chair. Just to point out, if you forgot the financial year, the reason the interest drops in July is because we reset to 0. As you read through the report, it kind of like goes up, it goes up, it goes, and then 1 month it goes down. So the market's fairly fixed at the moment. We are getting some good interest rates, which is working for us on the savings side, which is going to work against us if we pursue a loan. Any questions?
Well, I guess I should have a mover and. Do I have a mover?
No.
No, sorry. You should wave your hands over. Mover. Councillor Newstead and Councillor Goswitch, thank you. So, any questions, comments? Nothing? Okay. I've got no questions. I'm happy with that. Thank you. I'll put that. All in favour? Aye. Carried. Thank you. Item 11.4, revote capital expenditure at 30th of June. The recommendation there is council revote the capital projects as presented in the report from the last financial year into the current financial year operational plan and budget. Nothing mover. Councillor Best and Councillor seconded by Councillor Parlett. Executive management account. Would you like to speak to that? It's pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. Just as this time of year is that the projects with budgets remaining from last financial year that are incomplete or haven't been started and we wish to continue are presented in the table. The majority of them are capital. That is what we focus our revotes on. The capital is $1,594,903. But we do have that strategic project, safe and secure water project grant that we would bring forward that officially is operational, but it's just included here to make sure that we complete that grant.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Comment, I think we just covered it, though, I suggest we grant fund to be moving forward. I'm not being very positive, but I'm just saying.
Just a formality, it will be presented in the QBR, but
Yes.
we do just have to put it in.
This has to happen every year.
Yeah.
We all go through their own councils, all the retailers. Yes, Councillor Boswich.
What's the difference between relining and recoding with the reservoirs?
Actually, I had the same question.
Thank you. Relining in middle, inside,
That's what, yeah, well, that's what.
and recoating outside. So primarily.
Okay, that's what I thought that might have been it, but the price difference I thought would be expensive, more expensive to do the reline compared to a recoat.
Mm.
In my head. But that's okay.
Smaller service area. So,
Thank you.
all right, if there's no more discussion, I'll put that all in favour. Right, that's carried. Thank you. 11.5, the unaudited financial statements, 25-26. Again, I'm not going to read through all of that. And I will pass it over to the Executive Management Accountant to speak to it if she wishes.
Move by second, Apri.
Oh, sorry, mover check. Thank you. Thank you. Mover. Councillor Newstead, seconded by Councillor Boswich. Thank you.
And through you, Chair, just to repeat that disclaimer, these are unaudited financial statements. The audit visit is on site next week. So these are subject to change. There are probably a few changes I would like to make already. But we are still tracking to timetable pretty well. So we do expect to have these finished early October, well ahead of the 31st of October deadline. Should the auditors and the Office for Local Government and the Audit Office be happy with that? Just to note also, these statements have been reviewed by ARIC. They do not provide any accuracy guarantee. They are a technical review of what we've presented as a good representation of financial statements, not necessarily of CTW's position, because they don't know what our financial transactions are. I'm sure you have all noticed the surplus.
I definitely did.
And just to reiterate, as per the report, these are, there's a number of non-recurring factors. The recurring factors are the unconnected land. That is a recurring factor. I took the public forum this morning. That is about $25,000 of the total of these statements. It's about $100,000 per year. So it's not a huge factor in this, but it is a recurring factor. The other one is we did increase the availability fee 20%, but you'll see that's not actually the big jump. So there's a jump, obviously, but that's not one of the biggest. So the biggest non-recurring factors are we did have a significant increase in consumption in quarter four. So that is, sorry, I've not got the quantified number in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I'll put that in here. So yes, we went from an average of 350 kilolitres to 500 kilolitres in the quarter. That was a significant jump, and that is the spike in those consumption charges. We don't know if that will be recurring. We obviously hope so, but can't guarantee that. We did have extended staff vacancies. Nasrul is now with us, which is good. And we did have some turnover, which reduces the grade step within the grade. So there's kind of you get a slightly cheaper replacement than the person that left.
Yeah.
And so we had some of those, and we did have staff taking their entitlement, so we don't have to carry those forward. So there's the staff aspects. And then on the materials and contracts, which we the theme of the year was with those staff vacancies, we weren't quite getting through the maintenance programs. We weren't engaging the contractors to do those. That's a deferral of spending rather than a saving of spending. So we can get through those as we catch up. significant item that is going to come up with the auditors is the impairment. And if you haven't dug through the statements extensively, you may not have seen this, but we've taken a review of all the assets we have in service, a bit of a fresh set of eyes with the changeovers in the engineering team. And we've gone through what assets are not actually giving us economic benefits. What assets are surplus to requirements? What assets are we not sure what would happen because they've been turned off for such a long time? And we call that impairment. It's still there, the asset still exists, the pump station's still there, but we don't actually know if we turned it on, what would happen. We don't want to turn it on because we don't want to disrupt what's already happening. Because what's happening is we are managing the service that we deliver. So it's a bit of kind of ignore it until you need it, because you don't want to disrupt everything else. So in there we have around about $800,000. Most of that is pump stations. We do have also Kudau Bowl. We have a bowl at Kudau, which is used to be, and a building there that hasn't been turned on. I think Cameron said it's been turned on twice in his 30-something years of service. So the water quality is poor. It's not on the plan for us to be using it, but it does still exist. Should an emergency facilitators treating that water. So they are officially impaired. That's the biggest potential change that the auditors will go through with us in why is it impaired and not disposed. And there's a real finance technical thin line between those things. So to address the surplus, which is significant, if you go to page 50 of the statements, you see our last 5 years. And over the last 5 years, we have just about broken even. So although we have a surplus this year, we actually have 5 years of deficits. And that is the local government business model. That's totally okay. We run the highs and the lows together. We are a business that operates medium to long term. A 12-month snapshot tells you about the weather, consumers' habits, the investment market. It's not necessarily telling us about the long-term decisions that CTW makes. That's why we have long-term financial plans. Ideally, we'll be bringing these back to the October meeting, but the formal presentation will be in December.
Thank you. That covers it. Any questions or comments about?
Is there any debtors in the impairment?
There's no debtors in impairment. We run minimal sovereign letters and all the rates are recoverable from the land.
No further comments, questions? Okay.
I have, sorry.
I've been quick because we've got to move on.
That's right, that's what I was asking. Sorry. No.
No? Okay. So I'll put that on that. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thanks for that. Okay, 11.6, disclosure of interest.
Sorry, may I make one further comment?
Okay.
May I? Chair, it's your decision, Chair.
Okay, quick one.
I just wanted to comment on, we did increase the unrestricted cash from 500 to 850,000. That aligns with the investment policy of holding that 10%. So we looked at the 500 went, that's actually really quite low. It wouldn't cover us for a huge amount of expenses. So we've aligned it to the investment policy. So there is a recommendation you adopted those specifically. So just to specifically point out, we did change that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the 6, disclosure of interest returns. The council note the disclosure of interest returns submitted by councillors and designated persons for the period ending 30th of June. They're business papers. Some of you earn too much money. Moved by councillor Best, seconded by councillor Newstead. Any comments, questions? Nothing. Okay, it's procedural. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. 11.7, Audit Risk Improvement Committee, recommendation to council note the minutes of the ARIC meeting held on the 6th of August and adopt and draft the ARIC work plan and report as endorsed by the ARIC. So if we move it, please. Councillor Goffridge, seconded by councillor Newstead. I hope that's quick. Any questions, comments? Nothing there? Okay, well, I'll put that. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. 11.8, council meeting location, the recommendation there is resolved that all ordinary and extraordinary meetings of the Central Tablelands Board continue to be held at the Darrell Sly Centre, Blaney as the principal meeting venue for the remainder of this term of council. And secondly, note that councils may attend meetings remotely by audio visual in accordance with Local Government Act 1903 and the General Regulation 2021. Various code of meeting practice variations therein. Just a mover. Council Arlett, seconded by Councillor Crossbridge. Questions, comments? Councillor Newstead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess looking at it, it really comes down to the when constituent or the when instance. I did bring up at a meeting some time ago about having Canowra as the central location. I did a quick Google Maps thing, and like Canowra is pretty central to everyone. I know we don't really have a room or anything over there. I was under the impression that when the depot was upgraded that there'd be a room there, but I don't know if I can come with that. But maybe the room that was spoken about was at the library. So it's really, so the people from Granville or Wenton, could they come in on video every time if they want and not ever come face to face? Or, because if they want to come, well, that's sort of fair on them. I think that they've got to travel every time. It's good for me. I'm only a couple of minutes away from home. You know, it's more up to
Councillor Arlett. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no.
I appreciate that sentiment in regard for wedding councillors. I just think you've got to look in business perspective with this, because you're only moving 2 councillors from Wetton, whereas you've got a whole staff and numbers. When you look at what you're moving around, I think this makes a lot more sense, because you actually only have 2 councillors going the extra distance, whereas if we move everybody from here over there, there's a lot more numbers going up. So for my sake, I won't speak on Councillor Best, but I'm quite happy to travel. And whilst we've got that option to come in online, I think that's gives us that ability to do that. We can't travel. I think it's
Councillor Best.
Maybe honestly, like we either way, so we've got to do what we're going to do. I've been council.
Okay. I was going to be the one person who didn't want to do this. But
I didn't give to, but I just would have thought that Canowra would be the ideal.
the ideal place, yeah. No, I guess my thinking has always been that it's a county council with 3 councils, and we should try and share around the movements. And I probably do it very frankly, apart from anything. But it's just strikes me as being a little bit more equitable if we do move around to or particularly between Blaine and Greenport. If we had it at a central location like Canowra, then everybody has to move, while everyone has to travel. And yes, while it's central, everyone has to travel. We have to do this every time, whereas if it was here every time, it's so much easier for staff, isn't it? And the other question, I had a question actually, which was, I thought we had a location in Canowra, namely the new library. Is that not a possibility anymore?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. And probably in reference to what Councillor Newstead indicated also, Canowra is the obvious central location. We tried the library, which is the new facility that we hoped, but it's just not suitable for our meetings. So the alternate was the RSL club, and the larger room there was problematic as well. Unfortunately, there was just no suitable accommodation for us in Canowra. In terms of staff, we're pretty flexible, but it is easier for us to do it in Blaney, there's no doubt. about that, but we acknowledge that the councillors' time is precious also. So we need to come up with a solution that suits everybody, and there's no one size fits all, unfortunately.
I guess it's one of those things that's been, I assume it's been around a long time, but you've been on council probably longer or gone back further. It's always been the case.
Yeah.
Right. It may well have been something that's been around right from the very beginning. In which cases it's a momentous change if we make a change. Councillor Goswitch.
I think I'm probably for it in a way. I understand where they're coming from, Chairman. But other county councils do meet in a central spot. The Weeds Authority, the Central Tablelands Weed Authority meets in one spot, where councillors all go in one spot. But the minister could change the rules like we saw 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Then we're back to square one.
Yeah.
So we can fill the plans if you like until he does his new code of conduct and meeting practice. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could all change.
Yeah, this is the reason why I mentioned it, because it could change. Because
Correct.
yeah.
If the two weddings who come first are happy with it for now, I'll support.
You can always reassess anything down the track.
Yeah.
Could we word it as a trial?
Well, I don't think we need to actually. I think we just do it, resolve to do it, and if there's a change, if we decide we don't want to do it anymore, we can resolve to do that. We can resolve to change it, and if we're required to be in attendance, so if the local government minister decides to make sure that everyone attends all meetings, unless they're ill, which is what the previous policy was, then we can always have the results change.
One other question, public forum, can they do it via video link?
Good question. Actually, that is a good.
Because I don't think somebody wants to do a public forum. And mind you, today was the first time in the Taiwan and CTW that we've had a public forum. What about you? Would somebody want to travel from Brentford to Blaney to do a public forum? If they can do it via video link.
This is just the person.
Probably would be in person. They have to.
Yeah, look, I'd have to take that on notice, Mr. Chairman. Apologies, I don't know the actual answer to that, but if you chose to continue to rotate the meeting locations, it's likely to be the same because our customer base is so broad. The customer from Blaney, if we were meeting in Wheddon, has the same challenge.
Yeah, but I agree that stuff to travel.
But if you
But
do
if
it via
if you do it online, yeah. I would think, I personally think that if you're going to be presenting like we have today, then you have to present in person. I think the public forum should be in person.
We've had it at Blaney where they've come on public forum.
Really?
Yeah.
It's never happened. Oh, actually, that's a good point. What do you think?
Digress.
I mean, it's a really good question.
Okay.
Well, so you'll take it on notice.
Take it on notice,
Yeah.
Have a presentation.
Presentation online, for someone in the public. It's rare for us, as we know. Yeah. Perhaps that can be just something we agree to or not, case by case basis.
We'll take that on notice and put it up with the, or we can come back to council and advise.
Talk to her.
And if there's a change
for
in the
policy.
Yeah. Talk to LG and see if it does. All right, if there's no more discussion on that, it's been put and seconded.
Yes.
All in favour? Right. All against? I get voted out. That's to be all done. It's carried. So our next meeting in October will be here, back to here. Okay. And I'll talk about that later as another one. 11.9 donation, section 356 donation financial assistance. The recommendation there is to resolve an allocation of $2,500 for category 1 community section 6 donations and financial assistance applications, and resolve an allocation of $23,201 for category 2 section 356 donations and financial assistance for this next financial year. Could I have a mover? Councillor Boswich, and the seconder, Councillor Parlayas. General Manager, are you going to speak to this, please?
I'm happy to speak to it briefly, Mr. Chairman. Just to highlight, you'll notice in the budget implications, there is the additional allocation of $2,500. If this recommendation is approved, that will be required to fund the category 1 donations, and that would be presented at the next quarterly budget review statement as to where that funding will be coming from.
Any questions? Councillor Boswich.
That's Councillor Newstead would know. I want to ask some questions about those things. I just had a couple of questions about the category 2. We've discounted the connection charges for combined council, doorbell and cargo. One of the questions was why and what's it for? And the other one is we've given in category 1 and category 2 to the Henry Lawson Festival. I wonder what the second one was. I understand the first one's a sponsorship, but what connection do they have, as in water connection, to get a subsidy? That was my question.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, apologies that the Executive Corporate Services Manager isn't here to be able to answer this directly, but I do know the Henry Lawson isn't about consumption reduction. It's about a direct donation for the activity.
Yeah, that's the one on the top. There's also one in category 2. There's one in category 1 and there's one in category 2. It's under Grateful. It says Grateful Henry Lawson Festival.
Yeah.
We only received
I'll have to take that on notice. No.
Don't they use the standpipe
It may be that
during the
event.
so there is water consumption during the festival. Is it at your showground? Is that where it all happens? There's a standpipe down there.
There is a standpipe there.
Yeah, which gets
We
used.
did the concert, but we didn't do a concert or anything.
No,
Whether we have to have it for fire or for our, safety compliance,
Yeah. So
I'm not sure on that one, but I know in the past we had to when we did that.
And the 2 combined council ones as well.
Councillor Best may remember from the last council, last board, we went through the same discussion way back then. So one is a donation to the festival, which is really just a, it's an advertising, opportunity for us. And the other one was, the use of the standpipe. That's the case.
The bulk of the churches,
Multiple churches and
20 churches.
lots of churches.
Aged care.
Hmm?
Oh, for Moorbell. Sorry, we just got a message.
About I know this is the consumption rate or charge or whatever, which is a bit different, but I do know that in the case of rating, you can't rate another council. There are restrictions. There are certain tenures which don't get rated, like National Parks doesn't get rated, Forestry doesn't get rated, other councils don't get rated.
You can't rate yourself. You can't rate yourself.
You can't rate yourself.
No.
Okay. But I'm sure I was looking at a rating document because I was looking up another issue.
Aged
I
care.
am happy to raise this issue with the councils that send us rates notices.
Well, it's something that we probably need to have a look at the act, because
Normally, you don't register.
I agree with Craig, if you don't read the
well, yeah,
We had council meeting last night, where we sold parcel land for $400,000 and we'll get $2,000 rates now, we'll get it for. That's why it's stuck in my head.
okay, no, well, I'm prepared to be corrected, but it's something that probably would.
Yeah.
But there, I mean, there's lots of ways in which we can support each other.
Very time.
Yeah, that's not.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item? No? Okay, I'll put that, all in favour?
Aye. That's carried.
Thank you. 11.10 workforce strategy update. The recommendation there is that council endorse the minor amendment to the organisational structure as presented. Councillor Newstead, seconded by Councillor Ahmed. Thank you. Charlie, would you like to talk to this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, through you, I'll take the report, I guess, as read, just to highlight that there was a couple of amendments that we've made to the structure. Unfortunately, the meter reader position was omitted from the original one on the presumption that that position was retiring and was going to be, it's currently being done by operators, but be folded into another position. That hasn't happened, so we brought that back in to the structure, and we've got those other positions that we've discussed previously, but I think it's the meter reader that's the main change there.
Questions? Look back here, Councillor Bess. Go on. No? Thank you. Councillor Gosford.
So the store person's a new position as well, store person / operator.
Correct.
So is that coming under the EMOS? Is what the arrows say there?
Yes.
Yes? So will they be based in Planey, or the operator, or it's a different type of operator than the other operators that are in the network?
Based in Blaney, through Mr. Chair.
Right.
She's based in Blaney. It's to be a supportive role, store person for first and foremost, but we acknowledge that that's not necessarily a full-time role, so there's opportunity there to support and back up the network team and the treatment team as required.
And the other question I had, have we gone away, which is normal. The difference, I think, the difference between the finance support officer and the finance officer was probably more my question. So, are they the same role, or one of them sort of answers the phone as well? I just heard that that's a new position as well. We're looking at it. It's in green. So that's been added in. So we've actually added 3 or 4 new positions. Is what I read.
Can I just
Mr. Chairman, I'll ask the.
Can I address that?
You can.
The finance officer has experience and can make independent financial decisions. The finance support officer doesn't have that same level of experience or qualification in the position. But the finance support officer isn't a new position. It's the renaming and restructuring of an existing position to more reflect what that person's duties are. So it's a new title. It's not an additional headcount.
No, that's all right. I just
Yep.
We're not
Councillor, you
agree-
got any question?
we're not in the green. I'm thinking they're new people or. Yep, cool. Oh no, I have one more. Sorry.
Yep.
3, Mr. Chair. I noticed that we lost the trainee. Are we going to get another one, or we're letting that go?
I can answer that, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Gosford, unfortunately, the Fresh Start program, the funding was tied to the person, not the position. And so that was always the risk. If a trainee would resign, we can't fill that. There's a new funding stream for Fresh Start coming out shortly, and our intention is to go back out to
Yeah.
to fill that vacancy there.
No, that's good. Hopefully it's nice.
You have questions, comments? I'll put that on voting. That's carried. 11, okay. Stop reading. Okay, policy reviews. Well, we may have to do this separately. So the recommendation there is that council endorse the following policies for public exhibition for a period of 28 days. That's the cyber security policy and the health and well-being policy. And you can see if there's papers, copies of the changes that have been made to those. Secondly, to note that should no substantial submissions be received during public exhibition period, the above policies are deemed adopted. Thirdly, adopt the unconnected land available charge policy following the completion of the second public exhibition period in consideration of submissions received. And note the policies adopted under this resolution superseding any previous council resolutions, etc. Could I have them move up, please? Councillor Newstead, seconded by Councillor Boswich. Comments, questions? Councillor Newstead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I struggle with number 3, and after the public forum this morning, I can see where they come from. It's a hard thing to sell to people that you've got to pay for something that you're not connected to. I've listened to Councillor Best saying, but it is a tough thing even for me to think, well, I'm not using it. I may never use it, but I've got to pay half the fee to have it there. I'm inclined to vote against this, but I don't want to make it any worse than what, because there are some good amendments to what we've adopted originally. I'm not real sure on the fact that people that have already paid, if it's changed, that they don't get some kind of credit or refund from that. Honestly, it's a hard one. It's a shame, as the chair has stated, that this legislation first came 33 years ago. I just don't know why it wasn't implemented back then. It would be interesting. And I believe that a former chairman did try to think about bringing it in, but it wasn't brought in. Why wasn't it brought in then as well? I knew stuff on people who do have 4 or 5 blocks that they're all joined together, they might be paying under one rate, but now, because they are separate blocks, they're going to pay 55 every quarter on each one of them. So, yeah, it's a tough one, but anyway, maybe others have got something they'd like to say about it.
Does anyone else want to speak?
You go first, Chair.
Yeah, well, I think most people in the room know my thoughts on it. Look, I think we do need to get something back, and that's why we amended the policy. The problem I have with it now is we've gone through we'll have 2 billing cycles. So what do we do with those people that got that billing cycle? Because we've now amended that policy, can we put a resolution to say we supersede after, if we do vote to bring this policy in? I did speak to 2 people this week. It's currently sitting there, they've got bills of $800 each from 2 policies, like from 2 parcels of land. One's a pensioner, one's a person with blocks, because they have 7 blocks, 8 blocks, but they're not going to sell it. So they're currently sitting on $700, $800, because they've had 2 water bills since then. So I just wonder whether we can put a note in there that we, whether we can adopt the policy, and then the problem is if we put on another 28 days notice, if we change this, or do we?
No, it's already been through an exhibition period.
Okay. Well, what I'm worried about is that if we do amend it without, or make an amendment to say the policy stays the same, but can we backdate the billing period? Otherwise, I'll get another bill at the time if we make another amendment to the policy itself.
I'll get the general manager to respond to this, but I would have thought that if the policy is in place, we can't reimburse people if we make a change in the policy, like we can't retrospectively, Yeah, sorry,
I
Councillor.
think if we do make an amendment that we retrospectively reimburse those people who now qualify in a different way, I think that would have to become what is the policy. I know that the previous policy, that was what you have to follow, but if we make an amendment now to say retrospectively, any charges be.
I'm just not sure we have.
We'd have to check that.
Able to do it.
Yeah, we'd have to check it,
General Manager.
just,
Through Mr. Chairman, I think it's in council's remit to be able to, if they choose to, reimburse. That was, some of the councillors may be aware we've done that with section 64 charges, possibly about 6 years ago, 5 years ago. There was a few that were done. So I think the provision is there for councillors to determine that, should they choose to. I think we could make it a recommendation within this, that be done, and that the policy is policy. It still exists and it's current. It will go forward if it's adopted. And then council can potentially just make a recommendation in there that you may wish to choose to, councillors decide on the terminology that they want to use. Reimbursed if they so choose.
How many cycles have gone through under the old policy? Two already. So, I mean, do we want to reimburse 2 lots?
2 cycles.
2 cycles worth?
Can I also just confirm, Councillor Goswich, the people you're referring to, and there's many different scenarios out there.
Yep, they're the 2 that have the unconnected, not the town water.
Yeah, unconnected. Yeah. So the policy distinguishes between the exemption that the councillors were looking for was to provide an exemption or a cap, if you like, on charging 2 lots, but only if one of those adjoining lots was already connected.
Correct.
So if there's no connection, there's no exemption in the current policy.
You'll have
But still the current, okay, so that's the current position. So,
well,
councillor, what
Well,
we're saying is that,
I suppose we changed that as well, though, haven't we? In this policy, we've changed a whole lot, so it have to be because they're both together, the alternative supply plus the unconnected supply are both together in the one policy. So we'd have to retrospectively apply the new policy from the May and subsequent water rate notices.
Well, that would be the case anyway.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So the
So what we're up, I mean, the current policy exists, right? So all we're doing here is making amendments to that policy that already exists. So,
or we're making a resolution, probably more than amendment, because we want to keep the policy how it is.
yeah.
We want to make a resolution to the payment with the policy.
Well,
Because if we make any amendments to this policy, we're going to have to put it on notice again.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're not making a change to the policy.
Yeah.
No, there's no, it's just a recommendation. It would be item 5, which would be, so item 5, which would be that for those people under application, it's still under application, who qualify, so those people who qualify for a rebate, who are over the last 2 cycles. So it's calculated that they were, well, I wouldn't say overcharged, but that's effectively what's happened. For the last 2 cycles will be reimbursed.
Or have it annulled if they haven't paid.
Or have an old
they'll be credited.
credit, actually, that's the way.
Mr. Chairman, so I guess for council's consideration, what we're referring to is in the policy item 3, it talks about the customer application review, And there was those two items that we referred to, the alternate water supply requirement and the maximum applicable charges.
Correct, yes.
So just to clarify, what we're discussing right at this point is to say that this policy would be adopted in its current form and that the councillors would make a recommendation or a resolution that if a customer makes application to council and they fit within one of those categories and can confirm eligibility, that then we would issue credit to their account
Of the difference.
for those two reporting periods.
Yeah.
Executive Management Account, got a comment on that?
What, until somebody proposes a wording?
Yes, what's the next question? Wording, some wording.
Retrospectively, reimburse. Well, I don't know about that, the word, oh, just, retrospectively reimburse the 2 prior payments of doing nothing, make the 2 prior payments who qualifies for exemption, or who now qualifies for.
Well, it's the difference in the payments, actually, not the actual payments.
All right, the difference.
It's the difference
Yeah.
between the previous policy and this.
What they would have been required to pay.
Well, they would, in effect, it's making the policy, our current amendments to the policy retrospective to the beginning of that policy. That's effectively what we're doing.
Would you like to put that in wording?
So I've got retrospectively apply the new policy for the May and subsequent water rate notices. Apply credit to water accounts of those who have paid more than what the policy states or unaffected land availability charges.
Can you repeat that again for me, please, councillor?
Retrospectively apply the new policy for May and subsequent water rate notices.
And could I please, through Mr. Chair, just ask that you consider that they, as per the policy, they make application
Yes.
and that it's considered and applicable.
Yep.
Just so that we're aligning it with the reviewed policy if it's adopted.
Well, I think we're all on the same page with the intent of what we want to do.
Great.
Just getting the wording right so that it's legally binding.
Could you get someone to read out what that was, please?
So can I suggest just taking, rather than saying May and subsequent, we actually just say from the introduction of the charge? That's May?
Yep.
So that would be retrospectively apply the new policy amendments.
Yeah.
Because we're only
Yes,
changing the
we're already
amendments
changing the amendments.
from the introduction of the charge.
Yeah. Once the landholder has proven.
Well, that's, we apply that's
It's
kind
already in
of
there,
common.
It's still, yes, it's still on the application in there. It's already in the
It
policy.
now says that from the beginning you can apply.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you try and type it
And
up, please, John?
Sorry to be a bugbear. Are you looking to put a time frame on the applications? Like, just putting a scenario to you, if someone continues to receive the notices for the next, call it 12 months, and then they determine that they may be applicable and make application, do council want to reimburse them back to the introduction date? If they've made an application sometime down into the future?
Maybe it
What's
should
the
be
position?
3, and then we have
I think we
A,
need
B.
to give them, well, they would have got the bills now. There's people that have got bills, if that's the case.
Or just point.
And like
And then
that makes
probably-
two ring me, I know John said some councillor, councillor Parlett. So I think we probably have to go to the next billing cycle, and then after that, probably bring it back to us.
So what about for future applications? For all
Well, we should catch that in the.
Well, actually, you're right, we will capture
We'll
the
capture that.
very quickly.
Mm.
And have
There's
the
still need to make application, that's all.
Yes, that's right.
It's not granted to them.
No,
automatically.
gotta make it.
Yeah.
How do you get
So
that out there?
could I suggest that we would write letters to the customers that will go out with their
With their
notices?
next
Yeah.
notice. So,
Have an issue with that? The council like to clean up one letter to particular
Keep going with the
notices.
news.
I'll go to everybody then. So we'll advise customers
The workers and.
of the amended policy, they can make application. Would councillors be acceptable to putting in a time frame? So we're going to do meter reading in October. So could we say by the end of the calendar year,
Yes.
any applications made after that for reimbursement that wouldn't be considered?
So that, can we just add that in here? Two applications received before
So the original.
end of December
Represented
2026
by the new policy amendments for reduction of the charge
for any applications received
from the introduction of the charge.
from for the child. For applications received in 2026.
2026. Yeah. For new policy.
Maybe for any applications, just to be more grammatical. Any, just put any before application.
New policy. Any applications for Stephen?
Reductions.
For any applications or
The amendments
Or
only
achievement.
apply to exemption and reduction though.
That says in the policies.
Yeah.
yeah, do we want to spell it out what the applications are? Whether the applications for reductions or applications for, what's the word?
Well, just make it as per item 3 of the policy. You want it
So
short?
put received under item 3. Applications received under item 3.
Yes.
Yep.
Change for any application received under item 3
Of the policy.
of the. Is it item 3 of the policy? It is?
Yeah.
For 2026.
In 2026, second.
In 2026 or?
Yeah.
In.
In 2026.
If you apply in 2027, you will be on successful for retrospective.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just read through this. So it's adopt the charge policy following completion, okay, which is in fact just it's the policy with its amendments that which are there, which I think we must attach to. Retrospectively apply the new policy amendments from the introduction of the charge for any applications received under item 3 of the policy in 2026. So anyone who is applying for a reduction in their charge for those people, we retrospectively apply that back to the beginning of the.
No.
Is that reasonable? Is that what people see in that? Yeah, everyone's happy. Now the next question is, that's an amendment to the recommendations of people who was second? Sorry,
Who's Stephen Goswich?
sorry?
Who's Stephen Goswich?
Yes.
You're happy with that amendment? You're happy with that amendment?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I'd like to see this policy not even exist, but as
You-
long as it's making it better.
You
I know.
moved.
I know. No, not this, the original
You moved
policy.
it
I
to-
wish it had never come in because I didn't realise at the time how much distress it was going to cause to some people. Listen to council of their saying, and I don't understand it. But yeah, I'm happy as long as people aren't going to be any worse off than what the original policy was. You know.
Oh, we're definitely better off.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So no, I agree with that.
It's a considerable concession. We've already had a 50% discount.
Yeah.
We're now capping it. We're giving people the opportunity to, you know.
As long as it reads like as we've discussed,
Yes.
I'm happy with
Okay.
it. And no matter what many words you put there.
Your
that's how you
intention
do it.
is clear.
That's how you do
It's,
it.
it's clear.
Intention's clear.
Okay, intention.
So even if the words are unclear, we understand the council's intention and we can apply that.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Best, you want to say something? Come on.
Well,
They might start,
We-
phone call every second, they don't get it.
That was Catherine that used that.
Yep.
So she's coming a bit later.
20 minutes.
Brilliant. Okay. So we can finish because we've got another meeting.
Is that right on
Can I just say thank you to for the work behind this, and thank you to our general manager for all that extra letters and things and support that you did provide to us councillors who were receiving a lot of questions and upsets. Yeah, so thank you for that.
You know, it's interesting when I've asked people, many people I've spoken to just said, oh, yeah, why hasn't it been charged? First question people ask is, when they buy a block of land, is it going to be connected to water? And it massively increases the value of the property if it's, there are services available to it.
I understand that, but when you're paying for something you're not using, and I've not had one person say to me, oh, this is a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Not one, man. Lots of people.
No one ever was going to say putting extra fee on it, it's a good idea. We've got 200 and something, millions and millions and millions of dollars of assets that we have to maintain. And I don't sort of understand why we put a maximum applicable charge, because to me, in some ways, if a developer comes to buy a block of land and subdivides a whole block of land, I don't understand why you should say, well, they're only entitled to, well, they get to pay twice, or if you've got 15 blocks, well, you know what? But
That's different.
But that will be.
They're putting water on.
Yeah.
So they're connecting it, so it's different to that.
But I still would argue though, that anyone says they're not putting, oh, but I have no intention to subdivide, well, consolidate your block. You can consolidate your block and only going to get one fee. If you have no intentions, the reason you're not subdividing is because you're maintaining the ability to sell your block in the future.
Yeah.
So can I just ask a question for that quickly? So like the guy who put the submission in, he's obviously got 4 or 5 blocks there. If he hasn't got a block, like say there's no other houses around it, it's just in a street that hasn't been developed, but he owns 4 or 5 blocks. Because there's no connection anywhere, he's got to pay on all those 5 blocks. He doesn't get the cap of 2, does he?
No.
No.
No, if he has no connection at all, then no, he will have to pay. Yeah, but,
Yeah. So
it's a part of the value of the property. And
yeah.
we're not suddenly out of the blue saying this, it's in the act. It's implicit in the act. All right,
Thank you.
okay. Okay, good discussion. Everyone happy?
to-
Yeah, I will, no, about that. I will put that all in favour. That's carried. Thanks, everyone. That's.
So, Michael's, there's a,
Yeah, all right. 11.12, which is the legislative register. The recommendation there is the council endorses statutory compliance register and that the register will be maintained and reviewed periodically to ensure ongoing compliance with applicable legislative and regulatory environments. A mover, Councillor Newstead, seconded by Councillor Goswich. General Manager, do you want to speak to that, if at all? Sorry, I'm
Happy to.
putting them, because Lynette's not here.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
looking
never
at you.
mind. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll take it as read, but it's a statutory requirement for us to identify the legislation that we operate under. And so the team have put that together for us, and we need to now maintain it.
Questions? No? Okay. I'll put that all in favour.
All right.
That's carried, thank you. 11.13, corporate services updates. The recommendation that council note the information provided within the corporate services update. Mover, Councillor Parlett, seconded by Councillor Goswich. He's just rubbing his ear. General Manager, do you want to speak to that?
Happy to take questions, Mr. Chairman. Take it as read.
Questions, comments?
Health and wellbeing went to the consulting committee.
Through Mr. Chair, so the consult committee have essentially reviewed the swims. They've been involved in all those discussions. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, no more questions, comments? Okay, I'll put that all in favour.
Aye.
Harry, thank you. 11.14, operations and project updates. The recommendation is council note the operations and project updates report. Mover. Councillor Boswich, seconded by Councillor Paulette. Over to Harry Knox.
Thank you. Through the chair, I take this policy, this report read, and it's quite a big report. However, I'll talk to a few important items that happened in these 2 months. Basically, in terms of operation and delivery and technical services, things were pretty much normal as usual. However, in the 2 occasions, we have some exceptional circumstances and we dealt with it. But like dam is full, 100% flow is there. There is not many, about 90 customer services requests. We dealt with all of them. However, in terms of projects, like one of the key projects was to relocate the telemetry server to the server room. And we planned everything, everything was in line and it's working. And even halfway through, when it's relocated, it was working fine. And then we noticed that telemetry gone down, it's blank. And there are 2 parts. One is the technical part, another part is the operational part. The technical part is, yes, we tried our best to restore the services. We contacted Telstra, NBN, etc. And it takes a bit of a time to escalate that this is the essential service. We need to get the highest priority. Ultimately, we got that. And in the operational part, as soon as you see the telemetry not working, I can see how my treatment plants are operating and the reservoirs and the demand, etc. But the good thing is, operation team at that time, we set up our team and decided how to operate. And we decoded those operation processes. So that like some of the reservoirs, we check the level, because level sensors I cannot read from here, and then how much flow needs to be pumped or water needs to be pumped to those reservoirs. We roughly calculated from the flow rate and walk through the process. And good thing is, this 72 hours, there was no services. And the CTW team demonstrated their resilience. And the whole team was working every morning. We are having our toolbox meeting 7 o'clock and checking things working, what needs to be done, what needs to be operated, etc. Like Milton for the child, we managed that. And also, we worked with Telstra and NBN. We resolved the problem. But this gives us like how we plan for future contingencies. So there are further discussion going on to improve our process. And the second thing is, during this, after the last meeting, basically June, July, we had adopted the rural water supply policy, and we sent out our letter to 753 rural customers. We got some response back, some of those good, some of those bad. However, we only got response from basically 6, so which is less than 1%. So you may take other way, 99% people are happy and accepted with it. And 1 or 2 people who was phone call with me when I explained that CTW providing the same water, same treatment process. It's nothing changed. Only thing is about our ability to check, monitor, verify every rural customer, because with the distance, the chlorine content depends. And the flow is very limited there. The water sits for a long time for sure, longer distance. So we cannot maintain that quality. And through this policy, basically, we are telling them we are transparent. We are telling them that what you are really getting is this, and what are the process you can ensure to ensure you have a potable water. Like some of the rural customers have their tanks, and how to maintain that chlorine level, etc. There is a process. And we can step forward and say that if there is any need to assist, technical assistance, we are there to help. So again, overall, it's not too bad. 6 customers came, I explained them, take time, but ultimately they understood our position. And this is about providing the customer service and be there for them all the time. That's from my report. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? I've got a question. So the Indian Telstra issue, well, I hadn't realised that it was occurred while the server telemetry relocation project was going on. So did that cause a problem? Did we ever find out what the cause of that problem was?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chairman. If I may answer that. Actually, everything was working fine after the telemetry server was relocated. And in fact, everything was working fine up until about half an hour after everything was finished. So it was literally half an hour, everything's tickety-boo, no problems, and then all of a sudden it stopped. We also had a problem here at the water treatment plant at the same time, which are both on separate systems. Long story short, we're still yet to receive the report on the failure. It took a long time to get a response, as EMOTS has indicated, to the extent that we had to escalate it through NBN and Telstra to try and get some output. So at this point, where we stand is the telemetry relocation wasn't the cause, but we're not sure. So we're still waiting on the reports. What we are doing though is it's identified, and talking with Telstra and NBN, our redundancy system didn't work. And so we're looking at options there. So in case, like our business continuity plan was to relocate up here, we tried that, didn't work. So we're looking at our other technological options there, making sure that our BCP plan can actually be implemented. So that will be an outcome of this. But Telstra and NBN, we've debriefed with them, and they'll be writing a report for us.
And will they report on themselves? Because one of the biggest issues that came out of this was if the fix occurred once they had staff here on board, and they resisted that for a long time. And as it turned out, we had both NBN and Telstra staff at the JO meeting in Canberra. The relevant people would happen to be at the JO meeting in Canberra, and so Charlie basically shirt-fronted them at the time to get them into action, to get someone here on site. We had Lynette, basically camping out here until late this night, and you as well.
Yeah, I was also.
Yeah, and which is unacceptable, frankly.
So it's identified a weakness in our contingencies, which is, I guess, opportunistic that we can now rectify that, hopefully. But it wasn't ideal, and I will give credit to the office staff who had to adjust. We did get some hotspotting going and able to connect in other means, but the operation staff were probably the largest impact, where they were required to manually just go around and inspect everything and make sure that it was still okay.
Was there anything else you wanted to speak to in this? The regional hybrid project.
Sorry, through Mr. Chair, just to reiterate, we're anticipating the draft FBC to be distributed any day. So if you are still interested in having a read of it, just need a copy of your confidentiality. So I'll let you know as soon as that lands on the desk. So if you haven't yet sent me yours and you'd still like to read it, please send it in.
Thank you. Any question, Councillor Newstead?
Just one quick one, the water loss project, when you talk about water loss, what is that? Is that a big loss of water? It's not, say, somebody's tap leaking or meter leaking, it's obviously a big amount of water.
Yeah, good question. Thank you, Councillor Newstead. Through you, Mr. Chair, water loss, when we aggregate that at the end of the year, it's a fairly large number for us, and it can occur in various different ways. The obvious one is a break in one of our mains. We tend to lose a lot of water through that process. We're aware of theft of water. So there's a lot of elements that go to where our water goes that we don't know about. And so what the project is intended to do is to help us identify, particularly when we've got a break on our trunk mains, remote. The water loss program installs equipment that helps us to monitor the flows at various points to try and identify when something might be wrong. So it was, I guess, something we had to do, but it was funded. A lot of this was funded, which was great, and it's enabled us to start to get those flow meters technically in connection through our SCADA system to identify what the flows are at a specific location, and goes past point A to point B, and if they're not sort of aligned, there's nothing wrong. So we can start to identify that and repair it quickly.
Can I add to this, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Water loss is a word, it looks like we're losing something. It is basically non-living water. And when we operate a big system and like few hundred kilometers of pipes and things, there will be always loss, leaks. And when there is a pipe break, we just can't join it, because once before joining, we flush the pipe so that all bugs and things doesn't goes in and it gets clean. So through this process, bigger water authorities, like 10 to 12% loss, it's pretty common. If that goes above then it is, we consider there is rooms to consider, like where we are getting more non-revenue water. Through these projects, we are putting different locations, flow meters and backflow meters, that will give us a good mass balance, where we can identify the practical losses and is there anything we can do to improve. So this is about that.
No more. There was the email that came in about which you responded to just a couple of days ago about rural connections. I think it's just worth commenting on that, really, just to reiterate to people and so what you just said, that message that went out to rural customers just recently about potable versus not potable, and there's no change in the service. The service is the same; it remains the same. It was just and there was a concern raised by one customer who saw the email that came through and a response from the general manager. Yeah, it's just important to note for those people listening in that there has been a change in service, and in fact, rural customers are still getting the same access and same quality of water as they always ever did. It's just it was just some information just to be transparent.
Yes.
Yeah, that under the health department guidelines, we can't in fact ensure potable water to people, and so therefore they have a different. But the reality is, it's going to be pretty close to potable. We just can't ensure that. That's effectively the case.
That's essentially, yes, Mr. Chairman. And then we just ask that the customers be aware of that so they can take the necessary
precautions if needed. Yeah, but the reality is the water's going likely to be in.
That's good. That's was always how it was. It's a transfer pipeline. It's not a reticulation system. It's part. You're acting on transfer line. It's always been the case that we can never guarantee that it's potable at that source.
So that's right, because it goes to another location where the quality of that water is then
Yeah.
assess and modify it as necessary. So, that was my transfer.
Mr. Chairman, could I just add quickly, if I may, through the Central Tablelands Regional Water Supply Grid? It's a new project newish project that's just commenced. So we've actually received the deed and it's been executed now, which is quite a long time.
Yes.
The governance structure has been set up. There's two groups, the project control group, which is delivering the project, essentially representatives from each council, Cabon, Orange and CTW, and the steering committee, which is the executive, so incorporates the chairperson and GM from each council as well. So those governance structures are in place. And we've also got the project management plan completed and signed off by the government on that one, and we're currently out to market for hydrology. Progressing well.
Progressing well. Yeah. Any further questions or comments? Okay, I'll put that all in favour. Carried. I think that gets to 12, I believe. Questions on notice? No questions. General business? No further general business. I did have one item, which was the potential change in the date of our October meeting. Personal reason for me being I'm on the committee of the field days, and the day of our current meeting, which is the day before the field days start, so much field days. So the day before is incredible for me. I can still make it to the meeting if I have to, but I was just asking the question of whether or not it is possible to shift the date of our meeting perhaps a week later, which may be of benefit to the staff as well. Having it a week later, did you want to speak to that?
Mr. Chairman, through you, so the proposal then would be that the existing date is the 21st of October, was the proposed date for the October council meeting. The proposal is to move it 1 week to the 28th. That does help our finance team who are getting prepared for finalising the financial statements and getting everything prepared to send off to the Office of Local Government. And that gives us a little bit more breathing space to get those reports back to council as well. So there's benefit for our staff, but it's really about what councillors can and wish to do.
The only thing for me is that we have a council meeting the night before, which is happening the same as this.
And I have a council
And we
meeting the day
get
before as well.
both business papers pretty late in the week, but yeah, it's better than get ready. I got through it this time. No, that's all right.
I prefer the 29th or 30th, but that's, Wednesday's a bit soon, nothing.
Still busy.
The 28th,
Oh, that particular day.
that week, the 2 days after suits me, but that's up to.
We have it on the 29th, and we have it on Thursday, the 29th.
I'm looking around the room. Actually, I will check my number. I think for me, yeah, for me, 27, 27 or 28.
What about the day before, the 20th or something like that?
So the day before the,
Meetings.
I think it would be, preferable. I asked the same question, and whether or not we bring it forward a week or forward a day or two or what have you. But it would actually be of greater benefit for the staff to have it a week later or a day later.
It's 29th soon,
29th is the Thursday. So instead of the
We're fine, we're already done.
What
Yeah, it's got, 15.
So is it Thursday 29th, is that an issue?
No, that's
We'll go around the room. Thanks, Laura. 29th is okay?
That should be fine for me. I haven't got my diary with dates.
Take it for you? Take it for you, 29th, because that gives you an extra day as
Oh,
well. You know.
I
I mean,
was just having.
no, it's all right. I'm in the same boat because the bonds meeting is on the Tuesday as well, so yeah, it would be helpful as well. Yeah, okay.
Can we confirm the start time, please?
Start time, it'll be here.
Yes,
The start time will be 10:30 with a 10 o'clock
public forum,
public forum,
please.
correct? So back to normal, like we're half hour late because of you this time. Yeah, so the 10 o'clock here, but the 10:30 start for the meeting, so 10 o'clock public forum. And in this room, from here on, according to our earlier resolution.
yes. If you'd like to just make that as a resolution, Mr. Chairman, under general business.
General business. Resolution to move the meeting move the October meeting from
21st.
the 21st, Wednesday the 21st, to Thursday the 29th. Starting at, with a public forum at 10 a.m. and me starting at 10:30 in the Darrell Sligo Centre. Right.
Cheryl thinks that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard when everybody's watching.
Yeah, I will never do that.
Oh, as I'm putting it up, do we need a mover and second? We do need a second. Okay.
Yes, move that second.
I moved it, your councillor Gospich is seconding.
Who's moving?
I
Absolutely.
I thought as a chairman, I don't have to have proposing something, I don't need a second, but anyway, I have to. Only for chairman's minutes, I don't know.
Right.
Okay, all in favour?
Harry.
Yeah. And on that note, I think that's the end of the proceedings. Okay, perfect time. So I declare the meeting finished. So at 12:57.